All righty. Going live on all platforms right now. So I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm going to edit channels. I'm going to see if I can get TikTok live monitor. I'm going to see all of everything that I can on these. Um, but yeah, yep. So I'll be able to see probably all the comments once we start getting them. So yeah, I just have my phone pulled up here because for whatever on Restream, the comments don't show up as much. So I'm trying to just like keep my phone right here so I can see all the comments. All right. So we're live on all platforms on YouTube, well, everything except Instagram because Instagram's harder to, I guess, connect to. All right, Gorendo or Debo tonight, fantasy championship. I would go probably that's so tough. Probably Gorendo. Hope he gets a rushing touchdown. I mean, Debo went off last week, but I don't think he knew they were eliminated before the game. So I mean, he does want to play for not to be traded in the offseason, so perhaps he does well, but I don't think it like both ways. I don't think it's, you know, safe either way. If you want upside, Debo. If you want safety, probably Garendo. In chip, you're down 10. You got Kittle. Opponent has Gibbs and Jennings. You have Kittle. Oh, dude, you're probably going to lose. I hate to say it. I think Gibbs probably goes off, so it's tough, but yeah. Yep. I got everything going on right here. Um, And if it looks weird on TikTok, it's because I'm live streaming from my computer, so it's a little different than typical. But yeah, for Chip, will Almon St. Brown get 17? Um, I think he will. Yeah, Purdy versus Kittle. Who's better? Wait, what? You have Purdy, and I'm up 35. Oh, you're good. Unless Kittle scores 3 touchdowns, I mean, you would be getting those fantasy points from Brock Purdy anyway. So if you're saying your opponent has Kittle, you're good. Should you start Jameson Williams or Isaac Rendo? I would start Jameson Williams personally. You got 130. Your opponent has 70. He also has Amon Ra and Goff. What do you think? Yeah, that's a tough one. He has Amon Ra and Goff. What do you think? He has 70. You should win, but yeah, I mean, don't know for sure. What's up, guys? Hello. How's it going, everybody? If you're just hopping on from YouTube, I'm going on TikTok. I'm live on TikTok. I'm live on Twitter or X rather. I'm live on YouTube. Yeah, I'm gonna respond back and forth to these. What NFL team you like? Yeah, I'm a diehard Niner fan, so unfortunately, tough year. Yeah. Let's see thoughts on HN production with no Tua. I mean, we knew that was going to happen. I mean, he had scored most like what 12 fantasy points without Tua Tagovailoa this season in a game, so it makes sense. Thoughts on HN? Okay, I already answered that. You think Jared is throwing 2 tuds? Yes, for sure. I think it's a closer game than people think, though. But what's up, y'all? I'm responding to and people that are confused on YouTube and X that are commenting. I'm also live on TikTok, so I have all these comments on TikTok coming in too. So yeah, you can't see the comments probably on your end, but I see them, so that's why I'm responding back and forth. So if I'm responding to something and you're like, "What is he responding to?" It's because I'm looking down here at the TikTok comments and looking up there over there. But yeah, you're up 26. He has Amon Ross St. Brown. That's probably a 50-50 chance. Yeah. You need Dolphins and Broncos to lose this week for us to get into the playoffs. The Bengals. I'm hoping the Bengals get in, man. Although I wish the Chiefs were the 2 seed because I think the Chiefs have such an easy route to yeah to the AFC Championship, which sucks. They get to play Pittsburgh. Like, come on. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, they get. Oh, am I muted on here? Can you guys not hear me on TikTok? No, you guys can hear me. Yeah, because I can hear myself from this burner account that I'm on from there. That's how I'm seeing the comments. Let's see. Oh man. All right. Let's get to all these comments. Yeah, thanks, guys. Achan 1-1. I don't know about that, man. I like yeah, I like him a lot next season. That's the reason why he's 7th on my list. But man, I knew what all the hate I would get for Pittsburgh's easy for Kansas City. I'm telling you right now, Eric, Pittsburgh is easy for Kansas City. They will win. They're at home, and they got who knows what they got under the stadium, some devil magic or something. They're going to win every game. They're going to probably go back to the Super Bowl, and it sucks. Yeah. All right, let's see. You're up 138 to 115. He has Kittle. You think I'm good? Um, that's a tough one, man. I think it's hit or miss. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna mute this guy. I don't even know how. Cam, I'll answer your questions. Stop spamming. You need Isaac Goff and Laporta to get 60. You think it's possible? Um, it's possible, but unlikely. Yeah, there. Commanders is still easy. I feel like in the like. What do you mean? As a matchup for teams, like for the Lions and stuff, certainly easy. They're good. Like maybe they. I mean, any given Sunday, but who would they be playing? Now they'd be playing the Eagles, right? At this point, perhaps the Rams. The Rams would probably beat them. You lost by 3 because you had Ford and John OTD. Yeah, yeah, that's tough. What's up, everybody? Um, let's see, Debo or St. Brown? St. Brown. That's not a question. Yeah, St. Brown's a must start. You're up by 10. You have St. Brown. You have Laporta and Williams. You think I win? It's going to be close. Do you bench Jamo if you're up 1 point and your opponent has no one else left? Stat corrections scare me. If it makes you feel better in one league, I'm up like 1 and I'm starting St. Brown, even though I already won. The guy's done playing. Yeah. You're up 25 going up against Sam Laporta and Jennings. That's going to be hit or miss, man. Jennings hasn't been good in a long time, in a few weeks. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's hit or miss for sure. This game starts in like what, 5:15? Yeah. You bet on Lions players today, or is the game risky? I think it's a risky game, y'all, and it's because it doesn't mean anything to either team. The Niners are already eliminated. They've had a horrible year. I don't even like talking about them anymore. I'll probably post a video about them once they lose tonight about what they can do in the offseason to improve. Um, and the Lions, it doesn't matter whether they win or lose because they still have to play for the division next week, right? So to me, it's like it's tough for this game. I mean, the Lions could 100% sit their guys in the second half. Like it's possible. That's why, for fantasy speaking, for all of it, for bets, for anything, right? Like this is a game that is really tough to gauge because it doesn't mean anything, you know? Yeah. What was I saying? It's so weird. It's so funny how, fantasy football basically ends in the TikTok live. I'm used to seeing like 500 people or like 200 to 500 on TikTok live. And there's like 37 people, which is cool because I can actually respond to most of the comments, you know, versus usually I miss like bazillion comments when I go on TikTok live, but I'm streaming, for the people on YouTube and X that are watching this, I'm streaming on, TikTok, which is like my main point of my brand, and then obviously streaming on YouTube and X as well. Who do you think gets drafted 1 next year? What do you mean, in the NFL draft or fantasy football? Also, Grant, yeah, damn fantasy ends people just dip. Yeah, I mean it's typical. I'll lose some followers here and there, because fantasy football is over. But I still talk about fantasy basketball, fantasy football, and I do NFL draft stuff, which I'll start getting into next week as well. Which there's costs and benefits to all that. Down 70 at you have Laporta, St. Brown, and Goff. It's possible, man. You think Cup is returning back to the Rams? No. I think they got to cut him. I think his cap hit. What is his cap hit next year? I think his cap hit is too high, and he's just not performing. He's old, and you have Nakua. He's basically prime Cooper Cup right now. Let's see, Cooper Cup salary or cap hit next season. Would you rather have Kyle or Ben Johnson as head coach for the Niners? Kyle. We've never seen Ben Johnson be a head coach. Like Kyle, I give him a lot of crap. But he has gone to 3 Super Bowls. He's still a top 3 coach, I think, in football. Um, I think he kind of gets the short end of the stick this year. I don't think Brock Purdy's all that good. As a Niner fan, I'm saying that. Like, I think he's okay. Like, he's fine, whatever, but it's like, what can he do? All of his guys were hurt, and it doesn't help that his defensive coordinator is literal stumble bum. Like, Nick Sorensen doesn't know what he's doing. So they can't get a pass rush. That's why I wouldn't pay Purdy, but that's a whole separate conversation. I would much rather sign Sam Darnold to 3 years, like Baker's contract, and trade Purdy for a first round pick. Some stupid team will give you a first round pick for Brock Purdy. Like, that's what they should do. They won't. John Lynch doesn't have the cojones to do that. I'm not going to say derogatory terms, but he doesn't have the courage to trade Brock Purdy. He should, though. You think Jane Daniels will play a full game next week? No, I don't. Next week's schedule is really weird, right? Because a lot of things will be decided, right, by the point they play. Even Saturday's game, like, I think Pittsburgh has what do they have, the earlier game? So they have the earlier or late game on Saturday. NFL schedule week 18. Something where, like, if Pittsburgh loses, they're guaranteed the 6th seed. Okay, yeah, they have the later game. So if the Ravens win, I mean, the Ravens are going to win. Pittsburgh knows they're not winning the division. There's something about this where it's like Sunday teams may just sit guys. That's the problem. That's why you don't play fantasy football in week 18. Yeah, in my opinion. That's why I don't do it. Let's see. Garendo six more than Kittle. Can he? Of course. Yeah. Brandon, you're up 4 with Goff and Bates, but he has Gibbs. Are you winning? You should win as long as Goff throws like 1 to 2 touchdown passes and Bates gets like 10 fantasy points. You should win. Gibbs is probably now. Look, it's entirely possible that Gibbs doesn't play in the second half. That's something we got to consider. It depends on the score. It depends on next week. Obviously, the Lions are going to need all of their guys. Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be hit or miss. That's a 50-50 chance. Kyle forgets how to coach in big games. I don't care. I don't care. They don't get to the Super Bowl without Kyle Shanahan. Everyone seems like they have this great roster. Like, Kyle makes these guys look good. Like, Kyle got Ayuk $30 million. Ayuk is not an amazing receiver off of, like, on, let's say, a few other teams. He's not a WR1, right? Like, he made Debo's whole career. He turned Christian McCaffrey into another animal on the 49ers. Like, Christian was great on the Carolina, but once he got him in the system, like, that's the thing. It's like people don't understand. Niner fans forget, like, we had Jim Tom Sula as a head coach. We had Chip Kelly. Like, I'm almost 26 years old. Like, I remember when I was younger, I never wanted to fire Jim Harbaugh. I was in on Jim Harbaugh. And they did whatever. And then we had the 2 worst coaches ever. And people want to fire Kyle Shanahan. Like, he's gotten them to 3 Super Bowls. I guarantee you he's going to keep getting close. And one of these times he's going to win. Remember, the same thing happened with Andy Reid. Same thing happened. Philly got rid of him. Philly could have 3 or 4 more Super Bowls if they had kept Andy Reid. They got rid of him because he couldn't win the big game, right? Like, that's what I always tell 49ers fans. It's like, Ben Johnson's not a guaranteed good head coach. Is he a good offensive coordinator? Absolutely. But, like, yeah, my bad. Let me get back to the comments. I know we got a lot. I know I was trying to answer. I get very passionate about that. Won the chip off of your rankings. Oh, congrats, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, try my best, man. I'm not right about 100% of everything, but I did I did hit on the money, the Bucky Irving stuff, the Tyrone Tracy stuff, a lot of the rankings, a lot of that stuff. Yeah, which is good. I did miss on ETN though. I did miss. I will admit when I'm wrong. I thought ETN would have a great year. I thought he was a second round pick, but yeah. Let's see. Thoughts on Kittle and Laporta tonight? Yeah, I think they'll both play well. 30-point lead opponent as Kittle. Do you win? Probably. Yeah. Thinking ahead, when do you plan to post next year's rankings? I'm going to go a little earlier next year. I'm obviously going to do a lot of NFL draft stuff and fantasy basketball stuff these next few months. I want to be that guy who posts fantasy basketball because no one else seems to do it on the entire app, especially on TikTok. It's like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to lock in and do it. I know I'm a fantasy football page primarily. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to do NFL draft stuff, fantasy football, some stuff of that still, next season stuff. It'll never stop. But when will I post my next year's rankings? I'd say probably March or April. Yeah. Aging roster. I doubt we make it back to the Super Bowl anytime soon. I think you're pessimistic, man. I mean, I think they still have one of the best rosters in the sport. I think Christian can have one more good year. People are acting like team is old. Like who's old? Just Trent Williams, like George Kittle, Travis Kelsey's like 35. George Kittle has 3 or 4 more good years left. He's 30. Like Brock Purdy's 24. Ayuk is 20. Like I want them to trade Brock Purdy. They're not going to. So he's going to be their quarterback for 10 plus years, whatever. Right. So he's still young. Ayuk is young. They obviously miss Ayuk tremendously because no one else on the team can get separation. Bernardo Green is young. Malik Mustafa is young. Lenore is young. Nick Bosa is still in his prime. Is he getting older? Yes. They need to get another young edge rusher. But anybody thinking the Niners are done, like this whole thing that the window is closed is such a stupid notion. It's for clicks, and people in media don't understand that as long as Kyle Shanahan has a pulse, they're going to compete for Super Bowls every year. I mean, they'll have a down year here and there, but like, doesn't really matter. You could put a AAA team equivalent basically in Kyle Shanahan's lap, like the 20, what was it, 2019 when he got to, what was it? No, 2021. Dude, that team was literally a Jarsky Tart interception away from probably winning the Super Bowl because they would have beaten the Bengals. That's how good of a coach he is. That team should have gone nowhere close. That team sucked compared to the team they have this year. And this team just is underperforming. I think it's just a mixture of emotions. They lost a bunch, and yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, it's so weird. Team sports is interesting, right? Like, it's just tough to gauge, but I guarantee you, 49ers will be very good next year. Very good. Yeah, they had the chance to win. It sucks, man. It's hard, but like I hate this culture too of everything like matter like rings like, oh, we got to win championships. We got to win a champ. It's a failure of a year if we don't win a championship. Should they have won the Super Bowl last year? Sure. But the Chiefs are going to win 3 in a row. You know what I mean? Like I'm blessed that we even got to the Super Bowl 3 times in the last decade. Like that's amazing, man. We have the most wins in the National Football League besides the Patriots and Chiefs since 2010. Like, you know what I mean? Like that means something to me. Do I want a Super Bowl? Of course, but like being consistently dominant is difficult. What the 49ers have built, it's like difficult. You know what I'm saying? One bad year, I mean, they had would they win 5 6 games the year after they went to the Super Bowl and lost? Like they're winning 13 games next year if they can literally get, ace their first round pick, which is something that's tough. But if they can do that and they draft well, they should be fine next year. And they'll have a cupcake schedule next year. My bad. Let me respond to these comments. I know I'm going on a tangent. For the Niners, it's a different barometer though. Disagree, Grant. I disagree. I mean, they're not the thing is it's about luck too. Like the Rams when they won the Super Bowl, because I know you're a Rams fan, they got lucky. Like Jarsky Tart should have intercepted that pass, right? Like they shouldn't have been in the Super Bowl and they got there and won. They got lucky that Cincinnati beat the Chiefs by a field goal because they weren't beating the Chiefs, right? They probably weren't beating the Bills, the Rams that year. It's about luck too. And at some point, if Dre Greenlaw doesn't get hurt, they obviously win that Super Bowl last year because Kelsey wasn't doing shit before that happened, right? But you can't say what ifs. Like it's about luck. At some point, luck will fall the Niners' way. It'll fall every team's way. You just got to capitalize on that. You know what I mean? Like the Rams capitalized on that. Up 8, opponent has Williams, Laporta. You have Kittle. You think I will win? Up 8, opponent has Williams and Laporta. You have Kittle. You think you're going to win? I think you'll win as long as Kittle scores a touchdown, which I think he will. Up 36 with Jameson left. They have Purdy and Kittle. How are your chances? I think. I mean, you're probably good unless Kittle scores 3 touchdowns. NFC is only getting better. AFC is always going to come down to the Chiefs and whoever. I don't think so. NFC is getting better. Like Saquon's going to be a year older. Like, what are the Eagles without Saquon? Nothing. I mean, we saw last year what happened without Saquon Barkley. AJ Brown getting a year older. Like Devontae Smith is still young. Hurts getting a year older. I don't even think Hurts is that good, to be perfectly honest. He's good enough, but I don't think he's good enough to win you a Super Bowl. Maybe he's a game. I mean, there have been worse quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls for sure. But if that's the team you're thinking about, okay, cool. Lions are going to lose Ben Johnson, so congratulations. Wherever he goes, they probably get a jump up. The Washington Commanders are a one-hit wonder. Cliff Kingsbury, that's what happens anytime he becomes the OC. It's 1 year, and then next year they'll start to key in on Jaden Daniels, and it's going to be a CJ Stroud thing. Like CJ was horrible this year. Jaden Daniels is going to have a sophomore slump next year. Like I can almost guarantee you. So we're talking about like NFC, like the Rams, like Stafford's gonna be 40. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like they're good. They have a young roster. Like, who else are we? Packers? Like, you trust them? They can't beat the 49ers in the playoffs. Are they really gonna win a Super Bowl, Jordan Love? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking about the different teams. Vikings, come on, man. Maybe because I love Kevin O'Connell, but do we expect the Sam Darnold to win multiple Super Bowls? Like, they're gonna have to start paying guys. Like, I'm just saying, there's always this. It's about organizations. That's why we see the same organization every year. Same organizations have the success. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why the Bears are always bad. It's not Caleb Williams. It's the freaking Bears. You know what I mean? They're a bad organization. The Niners are a good organization. They will be back. They will contend for Super Bowls again. Maybe it's not with this core. Maybe you guys are right. But as long as you have Kyle Shanahan, you have a pulse. He has a pulse. He's their coach. They're going to be competing every single game. I don't care who they have. Like, and that's something that I value personally. Like, we could be Jets fans. I could be a Jets fan. That would suck. Bad organization. That's why they'll never be good, right? Unless you can get a quarterback that changes everything, like Josh Allen, right? Like with the Bills, they were a horrible organization, but they even went to 3 straight Super Bowls. Someone said the Cowboys. Nah, dude, the Cowboys will never be good as long as Jerry's alive, probably. He has too much power unless he gives it away. Like, Cowboys probably never reach the NFC Championship. You're down 45 with Gibbs and Amon-Ra. I mean, you have a chance, man, for sure. Keep Taylor in the third next year, or the 11th, in three flex league. Okay. I'd probably. That's tough, man. Jonathan Taylor's still good, but he is getting older. Laporta's is kind of a steal in round 11. Depends who else is available, but yeah. It was an unfortunate year, but in order to keep us the window wide open, we do not pay. I agree with you, but they're going to pay Purdy 60 million. I told you John Lynch doesn't have the balls to not pay Brock Purdy. I also don't like short quarterbacks. I hate to say it. Like, he's short. The balls get tipped all the time. Like, quarterbacks, if they're not Lamar Jackson, and Lamar is even 6'3", right? 6'2", 6'3". You've got to be 6'4", 6'5". I mean, Russell Wilson and Drew Brees are like the only two in history. Like, come on, you got to be at least 6'3" to play NFL. Like, Purdy, he doesn't have an arm. His arm isn't good, and he's small. Like, why would you pay a guy like that $60 million a year, in my opinion, when you can literally put in a blind squirrel at quarterback for the 49ers when their guys are healthy and they could play quarterback at a high level? You know what I mean? Like, it's a replaceable position. He's not worth 60 million a year. Like, I'm sorry. I know people don't want. Oh, he's like David Lombardi. He's like, oh, he's an elite quarterback. Whatever. He's not an elite quarterback. He's got a good system. He's fine. He's top 15. He's top 15 quarterback, perhaps top 10 at his best when he has his guys. But you don't pay him 60 million a year. He's not a game. He's not like Josh Allen. He's not Lamar Jackson. You have Debo Guerrero. Who to start at flex tonight? Yeah, man. That's a debacle for sure. I'd probably lean Guerrero if you want safety, but if you want upside, Debo. It depends how much you're down. Thoughts on this Pats, Dion, Hunter, and Shore situation? Pats are going to draft Travis Hunter for sure. Yeah. I don't know about the other situation. Are you saying you think Dion could coach the Patriots? I don't think Robert Kraft would ever hire Dion Sanders. Yeah, I appreciate you too. I appreciate all y'all's support. I know we don't have as many people in this live today because the season's over. But I do appreciate when people are like, "Thank you, you help." Because most people, it's like, and I'm not saying it's you guys, obviously, but a lot of people in this industry, in the sports business, in the short time I've been here, people never remember when you're right. A lot of the time, they only remember when you're wrong, and they will cook you when you're wrong. That's kind of how it is. They want to. There's a lot of hatred in people's hearts. Want to take it out on people. You lost me this bet. You lost me this matchup. You lost me. Instead of like, that's kind of just the reality of this business. So I do appreciate when people are like, "Oh, you helped me win your league," and thank you. It does. Like, it means what I'm doing is, it's helping people and it's important. Is Saquon gonna? Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, that's what I've learned for sure. Like, yeah, is Saquon gonna play good next week? I do think that he. I mean, that's so tough, man. This is why. Okay, next year, do not play fantasy in week 18. He needs 100, right? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He probably plays 3 quarters and then sits the fourth because he'll get 100 within 3 quarters. Yeah, I love you guys so much, man. What's up, bro? You're down 19 points at the championship. Should you start Debo or Jamo full PPR? Okay. Oh man, the championship's riding on me for you, huh? That's a tough one. I do like Debo's upside, but Jameson Williams all he needs is one play. That's so hard, man. My gut is saying Debo Samuel, but you go with your gut. At that point, those are so close where it's like, okay, go with your gut there. Because for me, it's kind of just like Debo had 25 last week. Jamo had an insane week. But I do think, the Lions secondary play a lot of man, right? Debo's good against zone coverage. That's what scares me a little bit. But the Niners defense, they don't let a lot of 80-yard passes happen, right? That's kind of Jamo's bread and butter. I expect it to be an Amon-Ra game, Jahmyr Gibbs game. So I'd lean Debo, to be honest. Yeah. I think Ricky Pearsall could be a spot start tonight in an extremely deep league. Don't start him in the championship round. I'm just saying, don't be shocked if Ricky Pearsall has like 60 yards because he's like the only separator on the offense. If the Lions are playing man coverage, he's like the only guy that can like go out there and catch passes, right? At a high level. Amon-Ra for 30? Yeah, I hope so. You are my favorite fantasy guru by far. I love your recent on street interviews. Oh, bro, I appreciate you so much, man. I'm not a guru by any means. I just do research. I'm just like you guys. I just try to. This is what I want to do. It's like I'm obsessed with it. I want to keep researching, see how many people I can help, make things easier for people. And yeah, I appreciate you watching the street interviews. I'm gonna do more of those. I'm trying to do more vlogs on YouTube too. Kind of branch out a little bit more. But yeah, I appreciate that so much. Yeah, thank you. Um, Up 8 points with Isaac Garendo, and Jawan Jennings versus Amon-Ra. What are we thinking? Oh man. Yeah, I that's so tough. You should win if Jennings can score a touchdown. Yeah. Will Jacobs play full in week 18? I doubt it. Aren't they locked into the 6 or 7 regardless, right? Because they have 3 less wins than the Lions, right? So or the Vikings. So they're either going to be 6 or 7. I don't think it matters. I mean, I'd much rather play the Rams than the Eagles, but the Rams have won a lot of close games recently. Yeah. Do you think Garendo wins you this matchup? Gets me 12.2. I do. I think he scores a touchdown. But yeah, it's tough though. Very tough. You're down 8 points. He has Kittle. Do you play Garendo or Jammo to win the championship? I would always lean George Kittle. He's a safety net. I think, I think Brock does want to earn his money, even though season's pretty much over. Yeah. But yeah, I do think he wants to have a good game for sure. Let's see. Start Jacobs or Charbonnet week 18. Both teams, I mean, one team is locked in. I mean, I think you have to play Jacobs, right? Unless they say he's sitting. If they say Jacobs is sitting, like obviously you play Charbonnet, but Canine is Canine on the IR? I didn't even check that. Is he like out for the rest of the season? 8-team league, playing your wife in the championship, not your fantasy. That's funny, man. Oh, I hope you win. I'm sure your wife will get over it if you win. And if you don't, you can just celebrate her win, and you're good either way. So it seems like a win-win in my opinion. You need 14 points from Jennings to win a title. Thoughts? Don't think it happens, man. To be honest, could be wrong, but like Jennings, I don't think Jennings has had a 15 plus fantasy point game in 4 weeks. I could be wrong. Let me check his exact stats. I don't think he's had. Okay, yeah, 3 weeks against the Bears was his last one, 28, right? So, I mean, it's possible, but he had 2 receptions 2 weeks ago against the Rams and 4 receptions last week. It's possible. Yeah, I don't know. Does Gibbs get 32 tonight? I don't think so. He might though. Be awesome. You need Gibbs under 10.44 to win. You better hope he doesn't score a touchdown because you know he's about to catch 3 or 4 passes, right? I'm gonna turn. Hold up, 1 second. I'm gonna turn on this. I'm gonna turn on the game on my TV right here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, just so I can see when it's starting. Um, Let me see. 15 minutes, right? Oh my god, I don't know why I'm even watching this game. We're so bad this year. I don't even know why I want to watch this game. I want us to lose, and that sounds crazy, but I'm a big proponent of like if you're eliminated from playoffs, like I want a higher pick straight up. I want the opportunity to draft an elite tackle or an elite edge rusher. It'd be nice. I mean, cool. It's always cool if they like spoil the Lions, whatever. But the Lions, this game doesn't mean anything for the Lions. They still have to play next week for the division, right? So it doesn't matter. Let's see what happens. How low would you say Bijan could go in a 10-man next year? If you're playing with people that are smart, 5. I would draft him 1 though in any league for sure. You need 22 from Amon-Ra. Do you get it? I think it's possible. John Lynch only hits in the later rounds. Yes, bro. If you follow me, do you follow me on X? That's what I was talking about last week. I'm like, John Lynch needs to be serious. To look himself in the mirror. He's had one good first round pick besides Bosa falling into his lap at 2, and it was Ayuk, right? He missed on Kinlaw, whiffed on what was it, McGlinchey earlier on, and I think that was still John Lynch. Trey Lance, obviously. Anyone else would get fired. I think you can keep Shanahan and fire Lynch. I don't know why everyone's like, oh, they're a package deal. Like to me, it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, you need 24 from Goff. It's possible. If it's close, that helps your cause, right? Because he's going to pass more. Yeah, of course. You're trying to get him whatever pick you can. Yeah. You're down 28. You have Amon on your flexes between Debo, Guerrero, Jennings. Who do you start? Man, I'd probably start Debo. I'd go with the highest upside. Niner Nation always. Oh, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, yeah, dude. I love them so much. A little too much. And I don't play for them, so it's weird loving a team that much that you really have no control over. But that's kind of all of us sports lovers. That's what happens. They just piss me off so much right now, though. Up 14 with Gibbs and Bates against Goff. Thoughts? Yeah, I would. I'd probably play. You're gonna. I think you're gonna win. You have Gibbs. You're only going up against Goff, so as long as he doesn't have 3, 4 touchdowns and Gibbs has 0, you're probably good. Can you sit Joe Mixon, dude? Joe Mixon. I was off on him before the draft, and obviously it looked like a horrible call because I was like, dude, I wouldn't even take Joe Mixon in the second round before the season. And then the last few weeks, he's like screwed everybody in the fantasy championship, and it's like that's kind of how I expected him to play all year. It's so wild to me though. Like 23 is crazy. 23 on TikTok is good. I have more people looking at this on X than TikTok. That's insane. I have like no following on X. I just started like posting stuff on X. That's just so wild to me. That's so weird. I guess when fantasy football ends, like people just like stop caring. But yeah, I mean, I can answer anything. It doesn't have to be fantasy football. It can be fantasy basketball. It can be like literally any question too. Start Gibbs or Jacobs or Garendo week 18. I mean, it depends, bro. I mean, I don't know if they're going to sit Josh Jacobs. They probably should, considering his usage percentage this year. So I'd probably lean Garendo if they're going to do that. But if they start Jacobs, you kind of have to start Jacobs, right? Lions pull starters. I think they will in the second half. I know Campbell said he doesn't want to lay down, but like, what if someone gets hurt? You need it's a must-win game next week, right? And a short week, by the way, short week. So need 15 from Amon-Ra tonight. Wish me like, yeah, dude, I need it too for a few leagues. So I'm only in 4. It's been a weird year for me this year. The league that I thought my team was the best in, I scored 175 points last week and lost because someone put up 200. It was like the least lucky. Someone finished 3rd in that league, which is so annoying because that was easily my best team, I think. And it's funny, I'm going to win 2 other leagues, but still, it's like that was easily my best team. And it's crazy how 1 week can just like screw everything, right? It's wild. That's fantasy football though. That's why some people play 2-week matchups and they start the playoffs earlier. I'm personally against that because what happens if you have an injury? I prefer the regular season to matter more in fantasy football and kind of just let the playoffs be how they're going to be. But I am in one league where there are 2-week playoffs to more value consistency on a 2-week basis. So if one person has an insane matchup 1 week, like you can come back if you have an insane matchup the next week. But I think that devalues the regular season because there's going to be injuries and it's just who's healthiest, right? It's not even about drafting at that point if you're playing 10-week season. You know what I mean? That's why I don't like that at all. Up 13.5 with Laporta. Thoughts? Who do they have? Yeah. Down 16 with Jennings. Well, I wish you luck. I'm going to be praying for you that Jennings goes off. Can Kittle outscore Goff? Yeah, he can for sure. If he gets 2 touchdowns, he probably outscores Goff. You have 10 points. You have Goff left opponent as Jawan Jennings. Are you good? You should be okay unless Jennings has like a 2 touchdown game. Just make sure Goff doesn't throw a bunch of picks and throws like 1 to 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's kind of how I'd see it for sure. Best team in the league, first round by most points scored by 200, bounds and semis, hurts. Yeah, man, Aaron, I had the same thing. I know I just brought it up. Like the guy I played in the semifinals, and the same situation, best team in the league, first round by, all that stuff. I lost by like 15 points. I had 100 or 20, 25 rather. I had 175, and the guy had 200 in a week. It was just insane. He played Ty Spears, and Ty Spears had like 28 fantasy points last week. And I'm like, what the heck? Like 28 fantasy points for Spears. And he had Keenan Allen who had 28 that week. He obviously had JT that week, so 30 fantasy points. And then Allen only got me 10 in that matchup. So you're scared, 12K on the line. Oh, yeah, you should be fine, man. Down 44 in a 2 week matchup. You have St. Brown and Laporte. Has nobody left this week. Odds to come back. Oh, dude. So is it over? You're not playing next week? Is this the second week of a 2 week matchup, Cameron? I would say you need an insane game from Amon-Ra and Laporta. Probably 2 touchdowns, 3 total touchdowns between them, and then hopefully 11 receptions, right? Would probably be around 44 or 12, 13 receptions, something like that. Yeah. Jake Bates over 1.5 field goals a lock. I'm never going to say it's a lock, right? Because the 49ers red zone defense has been horrible all year. So if the Lions get there, they should score, which means less field goals. I don't know how many field goals people have gotten against the 49ers this year, but I do think that I don't think it's a lock by any means. He's a great kicker, but yeah, Debo or Jamo, I'd probably play Debo. Okay, first week, next week is final. Okay, first week, next week is final. Yeah, you should be good as long as you can lock part of it up to today. I mean, people may sit next week. That's why I advise not playing in week 18. But yeah, next week is I never play week 18. I don't care ever. Let's see. He up 30. He has Purdy and Bates. It's going to be hit or miss, man. You better hope they don't hit any field goals because I think Purdy probably. I mean, Purdy's been hit or miss. I mean, it's. I don't think he scores 30 alone, but like, could he get 25? Absolutely. You think BTJ is a sleeper for next year, or is he going to have a high ADP? I don't. Yeah, I mean, I would consider drafting him in the first round for sure. He's awesome. BTJ, yeah, absolutely. If you guys haven't seen the video, make sure to check out the video on TikTok. I also posted on YouTube about my first round next season. I've been getting cooked because I have Saquon at 10. Man, I'm going to stand on business. I mean, they all get hurt every year. If you have that much usage, the following year, I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want any. I don't wish injuries upon anybody. But I'm not making the same mistake with CMC last year. I'm just not. I don't care. I'd much rather take a flyer on a guy I know that's not that didn't finish as the RB1 because the RB1 hasn't repeated since I think 2002 with LT. It might have been '05, but it's almost 20 years, right? I know everyone says Saquon that low is criminal. I don't care. I'm not going to be the cutter fantasy football content creator. I'm going to take risks. That's how you win in fantasy football. That's how I've win. That's how I help people win. And drafting Saquon high next year is going to be an L. I promise you, he's going to get hurt, and he's not going to have the season he has next year. Probably. I'm just. I mean, I'm not. I don't promise anything, but like, you know what I mean. Like the 1-1 is cursed. He's going to be the undisputed 1-1 or 1-2, and no RB is repeated as the RB1 in 20 years. So he's not going to do it, and he's get a year older. And think about the usage Saquon has had this year. Didn't we see CMC have that usage last year? What happened? I made the mistake of saying CMC should go one. What happened? He got hurt. Didn't we make the same mistake about Jonathan Taylor a few years ago? Right? Oh, Jonathan Taylor, we're going to draft him one. Got hurt because of the usage. Josh Jacobs 2 years ago. Oh, we're going to draft him in the first round. Easy first round. He had like bazillion fantasy points for the Raiders. Got hurt. Be careful with guys that have this much usage. The prototypical guy to draft next year at the 1-1 is Bijan Robinson because Algier took a lot of snaps earlier on in the season. Gibbs is another guy. Achan's another guy. Their bodies are probably a little bit less banged up, and they're probably able to take on that load. Pause, but you know what I mean, like next season, and not get hurt. I'd be shocked if Saquon plays more than 14 games next season. Chase is Mr. Boom. Jefferson's Mr. Consistent. Yeah, I'd take Jefferson over Chase just because the wide receiver one didn't hasn't repeated since 17. I mean, Chase could be the guy to do it, but that's why I had CD not ranked 1 this year. I was like, no way CD repeats. I would take Jefferson over Chase next year. Also, if T leaves, then it's like, won't they lock in more on Chase? Like everyone's like, oh, he's going to get more targets. Like I don't care. It's about the efficiency. Like that's kind of been Chase's bread and butter. I do think that the Lions will play the starters. Taking Bijan or Jett, is that one? Yeah, I'm in the same way, Connor. That's how I'm thinking. I'm not making the same mistake, man. I'm not taking CMC 1. Like, that's basically taking Saquon or Chase 1. You're making the same mistake. You're basically telling yourself, oh, there's a chance they repeat as the RB1 or wide receiver 1 when history says it won't happen. And I'm just not going to that's why I have Saquon at 10. It's not the talent. Talent, he's top 3. Like, it's about, I'd rather take a risk on Devon Achane, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Puka, Amon-Ra, all those guys, even Nico Collins, before I take a guy who I know for a fact will not finish as the RB1 again next season. I'd rather take a risk and see, okay, maybe one of these guys is the guy that finishes as the RB1 with my first round pick. That's where it is. It's not a matter of like, I have him at 10 next year because it's disrespectful. Like, I'm starting to learn more things the longer I play fantasy football. And I was too inept I was blind with my bias for the 49ers with CMC last year. And I hit it right on the money, taking CMC 2 years ago when everyone said Jefferson. I was the only content creator that said CMC on planet Earth, right? And that hit. And last year I made a huge miss because of my bias. I failed to realize that as good as CMC was, it hasn't been done. It hasn't been done. Like, Derrick Henry's probably going to have a down year next year. Yeah, the Eagles' O-line's awesome. It's awesome, but you got to understand, other guys in the past that have had seasons like that have had awesome O-lines and just get hurt the next year. I don't think people understand how many carries does he have? 400? Like, Andy's going to play into the NFC Championship game probably at least, right? Like, if they lose, they probably lose earliest in the NFC Championship game. He's 345 carries. You're telling me he's going to play all year next year? How old is he? He's going to be 28. Like, I'm sorry, no. Like, could he finish as a top 5 RB? Absolutely. There's no way in heck I'm not going to cuss on here. I would take him 1 or even top 5. I'd much rather take a risk on a guy that perhaps hasn't finished as the RB1 last year, but could. There's been 2 players that have been close. Eckler was close back-to-back years. He was the RB3 and then the RB1 the next year. And then CMC was the RB2 2 years ago to Austin Eckler, and then the RB1 last year. So whoever's the RB2 this year is going to finish as the RB1. It's going to be whoever's the RB2 or RB3 is probably going to finish as the RB1 next season. And I believe that is Bijan Robinson. Yeah. Where would you draft BTJ next year? I'd consider him first round. If you're not confident in taking like Bowers in the first round, I'd much rather, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas. There's a lot of value now. I feel like this year's value was horrible. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that, but I think this year's value is horrible in the first round. Besides like Saquon, like there were guys going first and second round that really shouldn't have been. People didn't really have a gauge. They were like, could Stephon Diggs be good? Could Nico Collins continue his breakout? Like Debo's high, Ayuk is high. Are they going to reap? It was like this next year, I feel like we have a better gauge on like, okay, these are elite for like none of them are going to be misses in the first round almost. None of them. Like we know Malik Neighbors is a first round pick. We know BTJ is probably a first round pick, early second. Like that's the thing. Like I think next year we have a pretty good gauge of who's going to be going in the first round. And there'll be people that, kind of change the trajectory of certain picks. Like there'll be Matthew Berry will probably be like, I love this guy. I love Josh Jacobs in the first round, even though Josh Jacobs has like 400 carries this year too. And that'll be like a miss for people that take him in the first round next year. Even though I like Josh Jacobs a lot, his usage percentage has been off the charts this year. And he doesn't catch passes like these other running backs. So in PPR leagues is valued much less. Joe Mixon's another guy like a year older. Do we trust him? Aaron Jones is undraftable next year because he's going to be 32, right? 30 or 32. So, I mean, there's a lot of things we have to deal with. Obviously, I'll talk more about that next year and kind of where my mind's at. But I mean, when we're looking at a guy to finish as RB1 or WR1, it's got to be Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson next season. Like one of those two probably finishes as the overall. What do you think about Falcons game last night? Yeah, I didn't do um initial reactions to that. It was interesting. I liked the way Penix played in the second half. He overthrew a lot of receivers, which I didn't like. Obviously, I was a Penix guy in college. Like when he was coming out of college, I liked him a lot. I liked pretty much everybody in that class, but I had Penix ranked relatively high on my draft board. And I think he played well. I mean, he showed moxie when it mattered. He always has moxie. He's always going to step up in big moments. That's kind of who he is as a leader and as a person, as a player. And kind of, that's what I want in a quarterback. I don't care about the talent. Like I want you to step up in big moments. Like moxie is everything in football, especially in a sport like where you're hitting each other and it's kind of about who's the toughest and who has the mindset. I think he has that. He did overthrow like 5 receivers in the first half, but the Falcons should have gone for 2. I don't know why they didn't go for 2. Still wondering that. I mean, I would have just tried to put him away. Overtime's always a slippery slope. Like I would have said the same thing to Sean Payton. Yeah. Yeah, McLaurin. It's so hard, Laura, because McLaurin, like that was an easy start because what was he doing before? No one on planet Earth could have told you to not start Terry McLaurin after what he's been doing. Like I'm trying to think the last few weeks, I think he's had like 20 plus fantasy points until yesterday. Like, and all of a sudden it was so weird. Zacchaeus was getting targeted. Yeah, 1.5 after 4 straight weeks of 17 plus fantasy points, right? To me, in the Niner game, just went, started. But to me, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know why no one in your right mind could have said sit Terry McLaurin and been right about that. Yeah, it is wild. It is wild for sure. Good evening. You're up 45 with St. Brown versus Laporte at Gibbs and Purdy. How you looking? I think you're good, man. You should be good. You should win. But yeah, this guy hates Penix's throwing mechanics. Yeah, they're not great, man. It's also tough to find lefties that are really good. Yeah, but in the NFL specifically. My God, here's Brock Purdy, the $60 million man. Gosh, I do not want them to pay him. Do not want them to pay him. Debo with a carry in the first snap of the game. What are we doing, Shanahan? Jesus Christ. All right, whatever. That's sorry. I'm reacting to this game as we speak. I'm like, wow. But yeah, um Washington is a pretty good team. I hate the Eagles, so more than probably I mean, it's getting to the point where I probably root for the Chiefs over the Eagles. And I hate the Chiefs. That's how much I dislike the Eagles. Um, so I'm just hoping whoever gets to play the Eagles pulls off an upset. Like I hate the Eagles probably more than any team in sports. Them and the Rams definitely up there. Chris Conley, let's go. That's the guy they should have been using all year. Chris Conley, huh? Meanwhile, I'm getting excited when we really need to lose, so we get a top 12 pick. Otherwise, yeah, behind the Cowboys. But yeah, I'll probably end the stream in a few minutes. I know this game's on right now. We'll watch the first drive together, but it's weird. No one's on the TikTok stream comparatively. It's so weird seeing like 20 people on the TikTok live when there's been like 300, 400, 500 the whole season. A Debo carry again. What are we doing? Up the tackles. At least put them on a slip screen. Everyone making a big deal for Barkley didn't win MVP. Yeah, who's saying Barkley should be the MVP? It doesn't matter whether he's not going to win. If CMC didn't win last year with the season he had in a weaker competition, then there's no way Saquon's winning. Did you see Philly fans telling Jerry Jones he's doing a great job to keep up the great work? They're trolling him. Jerry Jones sucks. He just needs to he built one of the biggest brands in the world. And, what he did was, that's a great play call by Kyle Shanahan right there. That's how you get Debo into motion. Debo already with 4 touches. It's funny because if he just let someone else handle the operations that wasn't a Jones, like because his son is an idiot too, like Stephen Jones. I mean, I don't know him personally. Maybe he's an excellent human being, but like as a football guy, like he hasn't shown me anything that shows he's knows what he's doing. If they hired a legitimate GM, like they might be fine. That's kind of what I'm thinking in that situation. Debo already with like 30 yards. Wow, 20 yards, something like that. They took him out. George Kittle, there's a catch. Wow. Drake May is so tough. Yeah, he is. Oh, and you're a Cowboys fan, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know why people hate Cowboys fans, but I just kind of feel bad now because, like, if I was a Cowboys fan, I'd be heated that people. I mean, the media talks about them constantly. I kind of have a similar thing with the Lakers right now because I'm a Lakers fan from LA. So it's like I'm a diehard Lakers fan, and we're just kind of a joke, kind of like drafting Bronny, all that stuff. And it's similar. Like I want a legitimate owner who's going to spend money. Like Jeannie Buss is cheap. She needs to sell the team. She's not her father, right? Like it's kind of the same thing with Jerry Jones. Like he's done a great job building the brand, but that doesn't mean that he's gonna all of a sudden be like good as a GM. You're a huge Dak Prescott fan? I like Dak Prescott, man. I don't think he's really the issue. He hasn't played well in big games, but I don't think it's like entirely it's like he plays well in the regular season. He gets you there. And really the scheme is an issue. Like Mike McCarthy, I don't think is a good coach, but I just don't think they have the players. Like they just don't. Like they have a few defensive guys, but they paid CD, paid Dak, and it's kind of like besides Micah was hurt most of the year of Overtone. They have a few guys, but they need to draft better. Like Guyton looked horrible in year one, their O lineman. So Niners are in the red zone. Let's see what they can do here. Who is this? Garendo? Garendo with a 4-yard run. Will Shador be good? Um, you want me to be honest? Like as an evaluator, I'm not like I wouldn't say I'm an elite evaluator. I've only been doing it for a few years. But based on the tape I've watched, I do not think Shador Sanders will be a good NFL quarterback. I think it's asinine that anybody would draft him over Cam Ward. I'm not saying Cam Ward's going to be a superstar, but Cam Ward's raw talent is off the charts. Like Shador Sanders isn't great at anything. He's not a great pocket passer. He doesn't have a great arm, right? Like, oh my God, 3rd and 1. They got to go for it. Don't kick a field goal, Kyle. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Shador is excellent at anything. And his brand is a problem. It's not for the team. They're going to make money, but the players, I doubt they'll be okay with Shador like flashing his watch everywhere. Yeah, CD's awesome. He played well with Cooper. Please go for it, bro. Yeah, good. Michael Parsons did say that he would take 10 mil less to rebuild. That's good. That's good that he is a leader. I wish Brock Purdy would take 20, 30 million less to do that. What do you think about the Giants and Patriot? Yeah, I mean, oh, he got it. He got it. Okay, that's good. 1st and goal for the Niners. Let's see who gets the touchdown. If they do get it. Who's Bryce Young 2.0? Who? Cam Ward? Yeah. I don't know. Bryce Young's pretty good though. But yeah, I'm probably in the stream. So I love all you guys. Thank you for the support. I'll stream again soon later this week. Oh, Shador. No, Shador is a bust waiting to happen. Shador is a bust. I don't think he's going to be good unless he goes to an incredible system. So, but I'll see you guys.